Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and those tuning in online. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're really excited to welcome actor Scottie Thompson to our program today. She's making her first appearance on our program to talk to us not only about her acting success, but also a great new film that I had a chance to watch that you guys can see at the beginning of August. It's called Limbo. Really appropriate film, I think, for the times that we're living in today. We'll talk to Scottie about the film, what it's been like for her to see the early reviews for it, and of course let you guys know how to stay connected with her as well. Scottie, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, Scottie, so let's talk about the career first, because I think it's so great when people hear your name or they see your face. Of course, their favorite thing from you, whether it's television or film, kind of comes up. What has it been like for you, Scottie, to have had the career you've been able to have and literally have fans around the world?
I mean, it's a blessing to be able to do what I love with my life. I feel really lucky to do that, and it's also it's a big challenge because it's a really unpredictable existence, and there's lots of ups and downs. You never know when you're going to have your next gig, which is kind of like sort of what everyone seems to be experiencing more and more in this strange world we're in right now. But
right.
I think a lot of actors and artists and creative folk who live as freelancers are a little more accustomed to it. So it doesn't make it any easier. It's just kind of a normal state of being, I guess.
Right. That is so true. Have you always known for you, Scottie, though, that acting was going to be one of those things for you that people got to kind of know your artistic voice for?
Well, I started out as a dancer, ballet dancer, and that was pretty much my focus till I was about 19. Very full. It's one of those things you have to be obsessed with to pursue. And I always thought, for a really long time, I thought that would be the thing. And then when I got to college, I discovered theater was the most perfect combination of movement and a deeper character approach to things. You get a little more diversity in the kinds of roles you get to inhabit on stage in theater. So then I was like, oh, this is what I want. This is what makes total sense for me. And then sort of that was the beginning of that and the beginning of actively pursuing it as a career.
Right. And what a career it's been able to be, and a great tie-in with Limbo, though, Scottie, as we kind of talk about your careers. You've been able to work with some amazing cast over the years. Has that been kind of like one of the added bonuses? One, that you get to do what you love, but also get to work with people equally as passionate.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. When you're on set with someone whose work you've admired for years, and you're just like, okay, be cool. Like, I'm here to do my work. They're just doing their work. And, I think it's funny because when I first booked my first job, I remember finding out about it, and I booked the job and filmed a pilot, and then when I went to series, it was apparent I had a job, and it was my first job, more consistent job out of school. And I remember the director saying, you have your first, you're welcome to having your first job, really. And I just thought, job, but it's not a job, it's what I love. Yeah. And then, over time you realize it's your work, but because you love it so much, it's been an interesting journey. So when I get to work with people I've admired over the years, I'm like, oh yeah, they're just coming to work and they're doing their thing and they're working on their craft all the time, whether on set or in class or anything, and it's humbling and exciting to get to share in scenes with people who you admire.
Right. And I think, too, for us, as we're kind of watching these projects, it's great to be able to see the dance between the characters. And that is definitely true in Limbo. So I have to ask you, Scottie, this is one of those different type of projects for people who have been following you for a while. I mean, you've been able to play a variety of roles. What was it that attracted you to Limbo?
I think, like you're saying, the little dance. I mean, it's such a the story I really loved. I loved the end that I won't give away. But I thought it was so well written, and the interactions between the characters were so smart and fun. And then with the script being peppered with some really wonderful comedic moments that Richard really pulled off so well, I should say, and played. So I felt it, and I really appreciated the message in it around human existence and our failures and aspirations. And I loved the character of Cassiel because of her belief in the goodness in people and her struggle to come to terms with humans and who they are and how they are.
Right. Yeah, I can totally get that. And I think for me, one of the big things, Scottie, was the fact that I think it kind of allows us to know why we have to be so careful in the way we judge folks, right? Because, I think it's so easy for us to be able to look at someone as being all one way or another. And I think, being able to really spend that time with them, to get to know them, and to let them prove themselves instead of us trying to decide. So I think, as I mentioned, the film's going to be coming out in early August. For those who are joining us for digital platforms, August the 4th. I think the other great thing also with this, Cass, when you mentioned the humor, is that kind of one of the things that you live for, Scottie, at this point? Because we are living, of course, in a very serious time. But do you look for those opportunities to find the humor, to find the laughter in things?
Oh, yes. Yes, 100%. And an aside, I love your takeaway on judgment, and that's what you were thinking about when you were watching. And it's always so lovely to hear that when people are watching something and going through the experience, they're tapping into those aspects of things. And it's so nice to be part of stories that get people to think. But yeah, for sure, right now the comedy. I've been writing a lot, and all I want to write is comedy, and all I want to watch is comedy. And you can create meaningful entertainment that has a lot of comedy in it, and that's my favorite kind of material. And that's why I like this. I like Limbo so much, because it did have a really deep and impactful message, but you can take it in with some laughter at the same time. And I feel like that's what we need to navigate these crazy, crazy days we're in.
Yeah. Well, I think that is so true, and it goes to how you've been able to not only to build your audience, but also to build your influence as well, Scottie. I want to talk briefly about that. I want to say, though, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Scottie Thompson to our program today. She's an actress that's been able to bring some amazing characters to life for television and film. The newest project coming out August the 4th. If you guys watch digital like I do, or August 8th for you DVD watchers, is called Limbo. We'll remind you of that at the end of our segment. When I mentioned about using your platform, Scottie, of course I'm talking about social media, and especially on Instagram. If you guys are not following her, there is I Am Scottie T is where you guys can find her. Talk to us about that, Scottie, about the decision, because I've had, over the now almost 20 years that I've hosted this show, I've had a lot of actors who say, you know what, I kind of just share what I'm doing, and that's it. You've been able to give us a great mixture, right, of what you're doing, who you are, but also what you're passionate about. Was that an easy decision for you to make when it comes to what you wanted to share?
Yeah, and I respect everyone's take on how they approach it. It's such a personal thing, the social media world. I feel, for me, I've always admired actors and people with a lot of, whether it's a lot or a little bit of visibility. I've always admired them using their personal voices to give voice to causes, and is part of what actually has always drawn me to this business. People in entertainment have the power to influence people, for good or bad.
Right.
And I've just felt like, with once things started to take off with an Instagram or Twitter, I was reticent at first, but then realized, I can utilize this and give voice to causes that are meaningful to me and important to me, or that are connected to people I know who are doing really amazing things. So it kind of feels like to me, it wasn't much of a choice. It was just like, oh, this is, makes sense for me. And I kind of, I'm grateful to have that outlet and, that we can have the possibility of reaching people and making them aware of things or sharing stories that mean something to me personally. So I think it's kind of, it's got its, strangeness and challenges, but so. But overall,
and I think,
I'm a fan of the fact that you can do that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Scottie. I was going to share actually two posts on Instagram that you had made that I thought really said a lot about not only you and I think the way you look at things, but also about your message for us. And one of them was in a more normal time in November 2019, you posted a meme that simply said 3 words, own your magic. So I want to talk about that because you have been able to, as I mentioned, kind of coming full circle with how we began the conversation, you've been able to amass these fans from all over the place. So what has that been like for you to see the way that you've been able to not only entertain, but also to empower others to go after their own goals and dreams?
Yeah, I think it's so awesome when people, when I post something like that and they share their stories or embrace it and it gives people courage, because there's days I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, and I always appreciate when I see those kinds of things in people's feeds that I follow. Sometimes, it's just a simple little thing on Instagram and you can just stare at it all day and do nothing with it, or you can scroll through it and see that and get the reminder, and then hopefully I'm personally working on the discipline to put it aside and then go activate what that is for me in my life,
Right.
Yeah, I think it's so incredible that you can post something like that and someone halfway across the world is affected by that, and just a little reminder, and they're like, okay, I was having a bad day, and that just lifted my spirits and reminded me that I can make an effort, and every day you make the choice and wake up and okay, I got something in me that I have to offer the world, whatever form that comes in.
Right. And the final thing I want to mention is this post you made on June the 15th of this year, Scottie. It was a quote from Michael Beckwith, and the great thing about this quote was it says you have to ask yourself, what world do I want to live in, and then you have to actually be that frequency. And the comment you wrote in the notes was to be the change. Do you think that kind of sums up your career, that not only did you decide what you wanted to do, but then you took the action, and that's kind of what made the difference?
Yeah, I think so. I meditate regularly and focus on trying to get into a good vibration every morning. And, but it is a question of how do I actually get off the, bed where I'm meditating or wherever, sitting down and meditating, and put that into practice in my daily life. And how do I catch myself when I start to go into a not so great space? How do I get back to that frequency that Reverend Beckwith refers to and be that way in the world instead of, and I think it's about finding that balance. You got to be that thing in yourself first, but need to know that's sort of where you want to be. That's why that quote is so potent, I think. You have that vision, you understand you want to inhabit that, but you have to start from the inside, which is a really interesting journey, I think, that is an everyday thing. Yeah.
It's a great reminder for all of us, I think, and it all begins with us, and I think that's a great thing. Scottie, really enjoyed this time with you. Again, everyone, Scottie Thompson has been our guest. She's an actress who's been able to do some amazing work for you guys on television and film, and found some joy along the way. Her newest project I had a chance to watch coming out in August is called Limbo. As I mentioned, for those joining us for the digital platforms, August the 4th is the big release, so make sure you guys head over to Amazon or your favorite digital platform to be able to watch it there. DVD will be on August the 8th. And, Scottie, I mentioned earlier Instagram. I am Scottie T. Is that the best place for them to stay connected with you?
Yeah, Scottie with an IE. That is, I'm on Twitter too, same handle. I'm more active on Instagram. But yeah, that's the best place people can find me.
All right. Well, Scottie, this was a real pleasure. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to having you back on the show again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated all your insights and thoughtful questions, and I'm happy and honored to be here. So thank you.
Oh, the pleasure's definitely on mine, Scottie. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. I want to thank our good friends at October Coast PR for setting up this chat with us for today. And thank all of you, our audience, both on the radio side and online, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.